It's always a funny thing when the judge looks at your attorney and says, well, you know what? I'll give you this. That was really creative. Then denies your motion. It's just like, yeah, bullshit. You're whatever.
It's that whole nice try. Good job. The effort.
It's like, good job, little Bryan. Now go do it the right way. That's pretty much what happened in the hearing of Bryan Kohberger last week. Excuse me, I'm coughing. I have horrible allergies right now. And I'm laughing at the same time, which I try to not do. But I watched some of that earlier, and it was pretty brutal, I think, to Kohberger. And like not in a real like mean and horrible way, but just more like, what, are you fucking serious? Like, you really think that these arguments are of any sort of basis? So there was first the denial of dismissal motion. Bryan Kohberger's defense team
was laughing in the courtroom, like just a little chuckles.
What caught my eye was when I was looking at the video is there was a scene where the camera was right on the judge and he had this look of like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're wasting our time and money on this?
Yes. Bryan Kohberger's defense team sought to dismiss the murder charges against her client, alleging grand jury bias, inadmissible evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct. However, John Judge dismissed the arguments, referring to them as creative, but ultimately unconvincing. And they were creative. I will give them that. Ann Taylor was doing her job. I do have to say the other defense attorney for Kohberger, who is on the, obviously we're talking about, he wasn't the most convincing of attorneys. I was not impressed. And I haven't really heard Ann speak a whole lot other than some basic things, but I don't know. It was like, oh, Ann's a real, I don't know. Maybe she is. Whoever the guy was, I felt he was kind of clustery and didn't really feel very confident in him if he was my attorney. Then there's the murder charges. Kohberger faces 4 counts of murder, 1 count of felony burglary in connection with the stabbing deaths of the University of Idaho students. So none of that's going away. Grand jury instructions was another issue that they wanted to bring to the table. The defense argued that the grand jury had been misled, claiming they were instructed to find sufficient probable cause for an indictment when a higher burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt should have been applied. The judge cited precedent indicating that the Idaho Supreme Court has upheld the lesser standard of proof for grand juries for over a century, which is true. Beyond a reasonable doubt. If you had beyond a reasonable doubt, then you could convict somebody with a grand jury, and that's not how that works. So that's not, I don't know. I'm just amazed that some of these arguments were even made or that time had to be wasted on them. Cameras in the courtroom and an unexpected ruling by the judge. I was surprised by this. Allowing cameras to remain. The decision was a point of contention between both the defense and the prosecution. Members of the media and some victims' families have advocated for the presence of cameras to ensure transparency at the trial. And the victim's family perspective on it, an attorney representing the family of Kaylee Gonzalez stressed the importance of a public trial, stating it was vitally important that the trial be viewed publicly. The attorney emphasized that transparency is essential for the victims' families, community members, and the public to maintain faith in the justice system. The judge did agree, but he did with some caution about the cameras, citing that he wants to have more control over the cameras in the courtroom, and he cautioned the media about trying the case in the media and hinted at the need for more control over camera activities in the courtroom. There was no issue with cameras in the courtroom other than Ann Taylor making a big stink because someone zoomed in on Kohberger's unzipped pants one day.
Which is a bit awkward, really.
Which is awkward. And I'm sorry, if you're walking through the courtroom, people are looking at you. Yes, but the camera itself didn't zoom to his crotch. Like the pool camera didn't do that. Somebody took a screenshot, zoomed in and said, look, his pants were unzipped. That's not the media trying him. That's not us going overboard. That's pointing out something that's kind of silly because it's there. So I don't see what the argument is about that. And they're focusing too much on him.
I feel like that was a little bit, that was inappropriate. This is a murder trial. There are dead people.
Yeah.
And it didn't, let's be serious here. It is kind of my thought, but also we're all human. And,
who are you
if he had toilet paper off, hanging off of his pants or his shoe, we would have looked at that too.
Well, who are we telling to be serious here? It's not like, these things were brought up on like TikTok. They were the point of contention on places like social media. It wasn't news organizations that were massively honing in on Kohberger's crotch. Maybe it was mentioned a time or two, but yeah, it's a very high profile thing. If something like that happens, it's going to happen. If the president walked out and his pants were unzipped, I don't care who it is, whether it was Trump, whether it was Biden, whoever, they're going to talk about it. If you're in a high profile position and your pants are unzipped, guess what? Not everybody's going to go, oh, let's not say a word because that would be improper. Fuck no, they're not. Get over it. It doesn't mean the media is trying to crucify you. The media is simply making their observations on this whole laundry list of insanity that is your life. And it doesn't look very good. The dismissal motion denied, murder trial against Kohberger still set to proceed. And we'll see when that happens. We do not have a date on that yet, but there's still many more motions, I'm sure, to go through. We'll be lucky if we see it in 2024. But I'm thinking maybe late, maybe around this time next year, we'll finally get this underway.
You think so? I think it's going to take that damn long?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Ugh.
I think there's going to be motion after motion after motion from the defense. Hopefully the judge just keeps striking him down and just sets a date, but who knows? There could be a lot that we don't know that will come in here yet. Lots of questions unanswered. I did have a theory on why he may have committed these crimes.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it here for the first time.
Well, yep. Actually, you are, because I talked with Siobhan about it, and it will air in that interview in the week. Here's a thought. It just kind of came to me the other day. Maybe it's crazy. Maybe it's not. So Kohberger has had a whole life of not being able to connect with people. And he talks about that in his early writings that we've seen online, visual snow, not feeling emotion, very much a personality disorder that probably was never diagnosed, but very much thinks of himself in a very grandiose way. He thinks he's the smartest one in the room and that everyone should be very, very much impressed by him. That doesn't work out very well when you're not the smartest person in the room in reality and you come across as a douchebag, which he does. And women aren't very attracted to that. So he's always had trouble with women. We know that. That's fact.
Mm-hmm.
He's also studied criminal justice, and he's studied some of these characters that are behind bars. And an observation that we always make about the characters from behind bars are, wow, it's really strange that there's lots of women who want to write them letters and want to have a relationship with them. Kohberger had a disdain for women. And I don't know if I'm not even saying this is my theory. It's just a thought.
Okay.
The thought is, and another thing that ties into this before I say it, is we've looked at him a lot and gone, is he like enjoying this? Did he do this to go for the ride of experiencing what it's like? I think he did it to get a relationship with a woman. And the only way he could do that was from behind bars and being a notorious criminal.
Wow.
So
this might have been the master plan, not necessarily the killing, but the experience of becoming a notorious criminal.
Well, the experience of getting a woman to like him, I think, is the goal, and feeling that because he couldn't attract anyone to have that. And I'm wondering if in his twisted way of thinking, he thought, well, look, Ted Bundy had all these girlfriends from behind bars, and name them. There's every male horrible human being who's behind bars has somehow a small female fan club, which is insane. And he couldn't get it from living out in the public, get it behind bars. But how do you go behind bars and become that horrible human being? Well, you got to do something pretty bad. And wouldn't it be convenient to go and kill some of the women that have rejected you and have that as show them type thing and show society that they had what that was coming to them or something of that nature in a twisted way of thinking. Then he gets behind bars, and suddenly the women start writing him letters.
Wow.
Crazy?
Wow. It sounds crazy, but this whole thing is crazy. So we can't discount anything, any theory. And yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. It just kind of hit me the other day, and I'm like, I don't know. That's just, it seems kind of crazy, but I don't know. It's I think it's plausible. But I don't know. We'll wait to see and find out. We'll probably never know the answer to that question, but time will tell.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.